This is Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon, the podcast.
You know, when people leave a job, it's common to roll a workplace retirement plan into an IRA. What you can't do right now is move a personal Roth IRA money. You can't move that money back into a workplace plan. So it only goes one direction here. Congress is considering a change that would allow Roth IRAs to roll into workplace Roth plans. David, why would anyone want to do that? There's got to be some pros and cons here.
That's a great question because most people are used to thinking about rollovers in only one direction. You can leave a job, you take your old 401k, 403b, workplace plan, and you roll it into an IRA. That's typically what happens, and that has been the traditional path. But this proposed change would potentially allow Roth IRA money to move back into a workplace Roth plan, such as a Roth 401k. And on the surface, people might say, why would I ever want to put money back into an employer plan when I already have control of it in my Roth IRA? And the answer is, well, it depends on the quality of the employer plan, the fees, the investment options, the creditor protection, the administrative simplicity, and the person's overall retirement distribution plan. And the biggest potential advantage is consolidation. People would have fewer accounts they would have to manage. A lot of people reach their 50s, 60s, or early retirement years with accounts scattered everywhere. I see this quite often. And they may have an old Roth IRA, a current Roth 401k, or traditional IRA and an old 401k, a brokerage account, and maybe a spouse has some collection of accounts. That can become very difficult to manage, and confusing. So if someone has a high-quality workplace plan with low institutional fees, strong investment options, and good record keeping, combining Roth assets in that workplace plan may simplify their financial life. But the key point is this. Consolidation is not automatically good. Consolidation is only good if the destination account is better or at least equal to the account they're leaving. So there's a lot of thought that you should put into that, because if you keep your money in your own Roth IRA, you're going to open up the entire investment community and world to options you can't get in your Roth 401k. And you have a lot more flexibility. And that's important when you need that flexibility at a time when you want to manage your account, take distributions. And so a big planning issue with that Roth money is very valuable in retirement because it gives you tax-free income flexibility. And if you need money in retirement and you do not want to increase taxable income, increase your Social Security taxation, or trigger higher Medicare premiums, Roth money can be very powerful. So that means we don't want to move Roth money casually. We want to ask some questions. And this is kind of the process we would need to go through. And what we'd want to know is, does the move improve the client's plan if they were to go into their 401k Roth? Does it lower the cost? Does it improve investment quality? Does it improve beneficiary planning? Does it help income planning? Or is it just moving money for the sake of simplicity? So those are the criteria that are important to kind of look over. I mean, just think about it. If we have a couple in their early 60s, the husband has a current Roth 401k at work, personal Roth IRA from prior years, and an old traditional IRA. The wife also has a Roth IRA and an old 403b, and they feel like they have a lot of accounts. I mean, that's kind of what the feeling is when you have all those accounts all over the place. Now, if the husband's workplace Roth plan is a very low-cost institutional fund option and the couple wants to simplify a Roth IRA to a Roth 401k rollover, that could be eventually worth reviewing if the law allows it. It doesn't allow it yet, but if that Roth IRA is to be used as part of a tax-free retirement income bucket, or if it has broader investment options and better estate planning flexibility, then we might tell them not to move it. You have to look at each situation as it is presented to you. And so, how we help folks is, we'll review this for clients. We don't just ask whether rollover is allowed. We ask whether it is beneficial. And you want to make sure you're making a good decision that improves your financial choices and options and flexibility. And so it's a planning approach. You always have to do a planning approach, and just don't focus on the simplicity of consolidating accounts. There's got to be a lot of analysis that's done to make sure that's the right decision.
Yeah, and you talk about making sure it's beneficial. I mean, you really have to look at that option and go, what value am I giving? What value am I going to receive out of this? How does it fit into my financial plan? And something to also keep in mind, folks, is that everybody's financial plan for retirement, everyone's retirement is going to be different. So just because something worked for your family member, your friend, your neighbor, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. If you're wondering, okay, these are great concepts that David's talking about. These are great tools that I'd like to know more about. How does it work with my savings, my retirement savings? Well, we'll do this comprehensive planning analysis for you. This is where you're going to be able to see if this is an option for you, if it passes, that kind of deal. As we talked about here, Congress is considering this change. It's not official yet. Plus, just the overall planning for retirement. What different tools and strategies are you using so that, again, you get the value out of this and that it's making your retirement bigger and better? It's not hurting your retirement. Again, that phone number, 203-872-0009. 203-872-0009. That website, of course, masteringyourwealthradio.com. Real quick, David, for those that are first joining us here, especially in the world of AI that we're in, people are leaning into AI more and more and more, which fine, great. I think it should be a tool, not a replacement. So for those that are thinking, I don't need to meet with somebody like David, who's got, over 40 years experience. I'll just go to AI and I'll type in what I have and I'll tell it to create a plan for me. What is the good and the bad, the ugly of that idea?
It depends on everybody's situation in life. So if you took a person who is in their 30s and somebody in their 60s and type in that same prompt, that same question, it might give you the same type of advice, which may not be appropriate. But where AI really is lacking is managing emotions when people make financial decisions. And when you have the ability to work with a real human that has decades of experience and understands the tax code and how to be a financial strategist to look at all the different financial decisions that need to be optimized and risk mitigated and being tax efficient, AI may not pull it all together in such a comprehensive format. AI is pretty good and powerful. It's going to get better. I'm just worried that sometimes AI could hurt people. People don't understand the alternative that AI is not addressing in their personal financial planning. If you're listening and you're trying to really come up with a plan and you want to work with somebody local with decades of experience and can strategize to how to structure things for the future, give us a call. We're here to help you put a real plan together and monitor that plan throughout our relationship. So it's something I think more and more people need, but not enough people are doing it.
Well, we want to give you the opportunity to do it. We don't want you to be part of that group that's like, well, I coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Planning for retirement is not a set it and forget it. Planning for retirement is essentially building that dream house you've always wanted, making tweaks to it, changing this, changing that. And this is where this meeting comes down to sitting down with David one-on-one. 203-872-0009. 203-872-0009. Remember, this is complimentary, by the way. That website is masteringyourwealthradio.com. I want you to take a look at your next retirement account statement. And can you tell me what you're paying in fees? Well, they can show up in different places, right? It could be advisor fees, fund expenses, commissions, and a lot of it just kind of quietly comes out of your account. So what's a simple way to help get a handle on this? Well, here's Jason Cuphart on Morningstar.
So you really want to keep in some rules of thumb, like your all-in costs. Like if you have $100,000, what did you actually pay in fees that year? Whether it's commission, fee-based, or fee only. And what is your total cost? We think the average in the industry is probably around 1%. That's what gets bandied around a lot. So if your fees are significantly north of that, I would maybe ask some more questions. And if they're significantly under that, maybe you're getting a good deal, or maybe there are some services you're not being offered that, others might be.
Okay. Yeah. Really good perspective there. So what did you think of his suggestion here, David? I mean, how should someone evaluate whether the fees they're paying are actually worth it?
Well, I think the most important word in that question is worth, because fees are not just about whether something is cheap or expensive. The real issue is value. And when we work with folks, we always are very transparent in the cost, the fees. They may not be quite sure what their fees are before they come to us. But the real important thing that I want to emphasize is you should know what your fees are, but what is the corresponding value those fees are providing? A low fee for no advice, no planning, no tax strategy, no income plan, no risk management, and no proactive communication may be a bargain, right? But there's going to be things that suffer in your blind spot that are costing you money. And a higher fee may be perfectly reasonable if the client is receiving comprehensive planning, investment management, tax coordination, retirement income design, Social Security optimization planning, Roth conversion analysis, estate planning. And, these are all services that create value. And that's what we do. And so if you're paying one fee to one advisor and only getting investment management, and you're paying maybe the same fee to a different advisor that does all this comprehensive planning, this is where it's worth paying that fee. Because a while back, I had a couple that came in, they were paying their advisory firm 1.5% to only manage their investments. When we were done with their planning and we incorporated tax planning, income planning, estate planning, backup planning for out-of-pocket health care and the death of a spouse, just on the surface, we saved them in their lifetime about $1.5 million in taxes.
Oh, wow.
And increased their estate wealth transfer value to their children tax-free by $3 million. And they were paying us the same fee. So, you have to look at that. We quantify the data. We validate the information. And that decision to come on board as a client was very easy for them because we were creating so much more value and lowering so much risk and increasing their net rate of returns and plugging the gap of some vulnerable areas that they didn't have a plan for. And so that's how you have to look at it. If I'm paying a fee, what am I getting in value? And how much better will I be by making this change and become a client? And so it's something I see over and over again. This is where we want to get people to a place to understand, okay, what are your fees? But what value, what solutions are we going to give you for what you're not getting currently with what you're paying in fees? And so there has to become a value conversation. That's very important.
And you talk about, fees equal value. So let's do a fee analysis for our listeners today. If you're not sure what fees you're paying or you think you're paying nothing and then you do this with David, you're going to find out you sure are. Let's see if that's, something that can be changed to give you more money in your pocket. But also, again, this is about real value. So if you're wondering about the value within your investments, if you will, and that fee analysis that you're paying and that fee that you're paying, come in today for that fee analysis. 203-872-0009, 203-872-0009. Inflation is still running above the Fed's target of 2%, but the market may have already priced that in. Here's Investment Officer Sebastian Page on CNBC.
In March, at the end of March, we thought the year-over-year earnings growth for the S&P 500 was going to be 13%. We're running at 27%. So here's what we're doing. We're taking some profits on the broadening trade, but importantly, we're hedging inflation risk. My dentist always asks me for investment advice. I don't know why, but I always keep it short. I always say stay invested, stay diversified. It's trite, right? But what I'm telling my dentist now is stay invested, stay diversified, hedge inflation risk.
All right, so stay invested, stay diversified. David, when you hear those words, hedge inflation, what does that really mean when you look inside a retirement plan?
Well, when people hear hedge inflation, they often think it means buying one specific investment. They might think of gold, commodities, real estate, or treasury inflation-protected securities. Those can all play a role in certain situations. Inflation is especially dangerous in retirement because most retirees are living on a fixed or semi-fixed income. Now, if your expenses rise 3, 4, or 5% per year, and right now it's pretty high, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But your income doesn't keep up, your lifestyle slowly gets squeezed. And that happens over a period of time. It starts to get to you, not immediately, but over time. So the first inflation hedge is having a retirement income plan that grows over time. Some income sources may be fixed, some might adjust, some may come from investments, some might come from Social Security, which has a cost of living adjustment. The key is understanding how much of your income is protected against inflation and how much isn't. And when we do our forecast, we can kind of take a look at, stress it at different levels. And the second hedge is owning growth assets. Even in retirement, most people need some exposure to equities or growth-oriented investments, but because retirement maybe 20, 30, or even 40 years long, if everything is sitting in cash or fixed investments, inflation can quickly erode that value over time.
For more details or to sit down with David for your complimentary financial GPS, visit masteringyourwealthradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor and an affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and First Financial Planners are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BWA, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.
Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from from an independent professional.
Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone.
David Gagnon and First Financial Planners are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.
Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interest of our clients and to make full disclosure of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure, the ADV 2A Item 4, for additional information.